What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in. I'm Krulsawat with Simply Vegas, your Las Vegas realtor. Today's show with LV Home Experts. So today we are going to be talking about how to pick and how to find the right lot before you actually build a home. So today I got my right-hand man, my partner, Joey, up in the house.
What's up, chakits?
Oh, man. You telling me, dude. Here's the thing. I got to go back to this real quick, guys. We actually went live, and I thought we went live, and we had so much great content. We're laughing, cracking it up, having so much fun. Come to realize I did the dumbest move ever. I didn't hit the record button. So now we got to pretend, and we got to go through the whole process all over again. So we also have Dan French with Guaranteed Rate, the king of Guru Loans, right?
Yes.
King of all kings. How's everything going?
Great, man. Fabulous day.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing good.
All right. Joey, let's try this again.
Up?
Your weekend, man. How was your weekend?
Oh my God, Chuck! My weekend was insane.
Explain the
Insane,
weekend,
man. Well, we just been busy. Just been grinding.
Yeah, you've been crushing out of the park. Matter of fact, I gotta watch out for you, man. You might have more escrows than me.
Yeah, all thanks to you, my man.
Oh, I do appreciate it, but I've been getting lazy though lately.
You have. I appreciate that though. You just kick back, put your feet on the desk, relax. I got this.
No, I gotcha.
Yeah, man. Weekend's been good, man. To be honest with you, all my days been blending one into like the other. It's like I can't tell if it's Saturday or Monday or Tuesday.
Well, that's actually a good position to be in. You know what I'm saying?
There's no complaints, man. I have no complaints.
Yeah.
How was your weekend, Dan?
Great. I went, as I do every weekend, I go out to eat. So that's the highlight of what I do.
Dan's a foodie.
Mine's about the center. Like, okay, what are we going to do this week? Where are we going to go out to eat? You know? So went and did that. Did a little shopping, but not crazy. Just went to Costco like I always do and do my thing, you know. And
a little Bed Bath & Beyond.
Yeah, you know.
Like, where do you go shopping at?
So mostly I went to Costco. We actually went, we went to this place. What is it called? Nordstrom Rack.
Yeah.
Went to go check out some pants there. Because all my pants, dude, it's like weird. My legs don't fit with my style.
Your waist?
Yeah, it's weird. So it's either stop eating or get pants that fit.
Oh my God.
Get pants that fit.
That's it, man. You got to get the stretchies. Pretty soon it's going to be like the sweats.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like, so that way you give me more room.
Yeah.
So, but that's what I did there. And then went to Sunset Station, just kind of hung out a little bit.
Nice.
With the mask on and the parents. So, yeah, I just hung out.
So earlier we were talking about Joey. He's into bikes, right? Road bikes.
Road bikes. So I cycle a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And you talked about
4 or 5 days a week.
I thought you were only going like once a week, dude. Like,
Well, that's when it was in the summertime. I was training inside my house, but now I go 4 or 5 days a week.
oh, really? So how are you going to do it when it gets cold, when it's like 40 degrees out, dude? You're going to freeze
Layer
your
up, man.
balls out, dude.
Next week, it's dropping down. I think the high is going to be 50.
Yeah, the last time you told me, I guess your feet was like freezing or something
Yeah,
like
my
that,
toes were frozen.
Really?
Crazy.
But you have booties, but you got thermal socks on, and they have booties that go over your shoe, your cycling shoe.
So you actually get that cold though when you're going like,
Hell yeah.
what time do you start?
Well, now since the time change, 6
In the morning?
Yeah, I'll be on the bike at 6.
But also, he's probably going like, what, 40 miles an hour, dude?
Yeah, well, on average, like 20, 25.
But that's still, dude, I mean, with the cold factor,
downhills,
dude,
yeah.
that's just crazy.
If you get somebody that's like on the group and it's like they're not keeping up, you just like let them hang. Like,
Drop 'em.
You just drop them. Huh?
Drop 'em.
Wow.
Damn. You just let him go?
No, we wait for him to catch up.
You're just like,
Yeah,
oh,
if we like 'em.
another one fell off. That's crazy, dude.
Nah,
So you start with 10 and you end up with like 4.
pretty much.
And how long you been doing this, Joey?
Probably like 12, 13 years.
Oh, wow. So you're always like the leader of the pack then, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
Damn.
But it's fun. I mean, no, in all honesty, like we have new riders with us. You know, we'll try to keep the pace so they can keep up. Or if we drop them, then we'll wait for them at at a certain point. You know.
What about like the cardio? Because I know that you burn a lot of calories, right? I mean,
a tremendous amount. Yeah.
that's crazy. Aren't you burning like almost like 2,000 calories or something like that?
Yeah. If it's like a 50-mile ride, it's like 2,200, 2,300 calories.
Damn. You know one thing I noticed about riding a bike? dude, like my tank gets all like chafed. First day I rode, I was like, oh my God, what the hell happened?
That's crazy.
But now I realize, man, you got to like maneuver, like you got to like adjust it with the bib.
Yeah.
And you got to like sit down in the right position. You're like, okay, now I'm not getting that chafing. But that first day, dude, I was walking off like I had blisters. I was like, what the hell's going on? It was crazy, dude.
Yeah, you have to, the Chamos cream.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Do you have that? Do you keep that? Do you guys wear a fanny pack?
A fanny pack?
Yeah, like to have stuff. And we were talking about this fanny pack. Remember?
Well, I was rocking a fanny pack because
Yeah.
I don't have one of those shirts that has like those pockets yet, but I just recently bought one.
Yeah.
So I got to try that on. But
I thought you
So
like
you
had
know, you
tools and stuff in there or
Well,
something.
you have 3 pockets in the back of the jersey.
Oh, I see. But that's enough?
Yeah.
Really?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
like,
it's
what are you
stretchy.
gonna bring? Your laptop?
Yeah, man. You might be wanting to do work while you're riding.
So, guys, I want to actually get into how to find the right lot when you are looking at a builder, because picking the right lot is like such a big deal in today's market, because a lot of people will go out there, they will just like, look at a lot and just pick a lot. But you got to understand there's so many fundamentals when you're picking a lot. So I've created a list of 13 things that you need to do or look out for when you're actually picking a lot. So one of the first things I want to get into is the way that the sun is positioned. Okay, this is important. And the reason why this is important is because it's like if you buy a home and you're going to have a pool in your backyard, right? You're going to want most of your sun exposure out in the back of the home, because the sun here rises in the east, sets in the west. Now I notice that during the wintertime, the sun kind of sets off to the southwest versus the west side now that I notice once the winter comes around. It's kind of crazy how that works. But that's something that you have to really take a look at. What are your thoughts about that, Joey?
No, absolutely. You're right. And when you're looking at this, because the sun does shift, and you have the mountain range, you have, if you're on the west side of town, you're in the east side of town, you're going to get that different exposure at different times of day too.
Yeah.
Right. And especially in the summertime, if you're going to be on the west side, you need to make sure that your master bedroom and the way that your house is situated,
that's a good point,
accommodates, right? Because if not, you're just gonna get beat up from the sun all day long. Like they come 2-3 o'clock. I mean, it's just like full force.
No, you're right, because some of these homes that I go into, like just even like where you're putting your headboard for your bed, if it's facing west and you have that full sun exposure and you don't even have the right insulation inside your home, let's just say you have the R13, the standard, on that side of the home, on that headboard is going to bake so much that you can literally feel it.
Oh,
you see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
My house right now is like that, where, the sun comes in. I'm telling you, 6 o'clock, like you said, now I pop right up, because the sun, even when I have the shade up, you still feel that there's like light coming in. And I don't know if that's inconvenience to somebody, but I would rather probably have it on the other direction where the sun doesn't hit me, so I can wake up when I want to. But I don't know. It's the sun hits me, it's like I'm up.
Isn't it funny how people just don't think about these things when you buy a home? Isn't that just crazy?
I didn't even think about it until now, actually.
That's why you're just a lender.
That's right.
But it's funny because when you pick a floor plan and people walk through the models and you fall in love. Now sometimes when you walk in, you just know that it's the right home for you, right?
Yeah.
But some people don't take into account why they like that home.
Right.
Yeah. So if it's swinging right or swinging left, what I mean by that is your kitchen on the right, is your kitchen on the left when you walk in.
Yeah.
Right. Your living space. So that all plays into factor, but you can only build that the way it swings on certain home sites in a community.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And here's the thing. That's why I say, like, depending on the community that you are in or the master plan, you always want to be first in the track, because depending on the master plan, right, you can only put the certain model on a certain lot because of the plot map. It may fit and it may not fit. Also, in the master plan community, when you have other homes that are being built right next to you, now you may be limited as far as the elevation. Typically, builders will give you 3 different elevations that you have to pick from, but you also have to pay for. However, these are the things that you need to take a look at. And also, what's going to be a compensating factor is if somebody like across the street has the same model than you, you can definitely get the same model. However, you got to get a different elevation, but the orientation of the home may actually flip. So that's something that you have to look at. But also, what sucks is typically elevation A is free. B, you got to pay for.
Yeah.
C, you got to pay more money for. It's ironic how every time you go and you want that free one, you got to end up paying. And we're talking about 6,000 or even 12,000, depending on the elevation. In addition to that, a lot of builders will give you the option as far as on the elevation, but then what color scheme. And based upon that color scheme, your exterior is going to be a little bit different. So you'll have like 12 different color schemes that you can pick from, depending on which builder. Some may have 6, some may have 12, but also that's going to change the facade as far as like the stonework too as well. And so that's why I always say it's like it's best to buy in the beginning phases, so that way you can also have that option, but also ride that wave up. When you guys agree?
Yeah, would you say beginning? I'm curious.
Yeah.
Is this before, like, you want to get in when it's all started, basically?
Yeah.
Before anybody
absolutely.
else? Wow.
Because now you're getting into like low rock bottom pricing. But you got to understand that these builders, as they're building homes, they're forcing the appreciation up, and that's why they keep raising the purchase price. Do you see what I'm saying?
So the person that's last getting a home, or not last, but you know what I mean? They're screwed, basically, right?
You basically paying top dollar.
Well, well, you're already paying the highest price in the community on your base price.
Wow.
Right? And then you're going to be settling.
Wow.
Right? Because most people that I find want that B or C elevation, because typically the C elevation is the more contemporary with home builders. So you're going to get the contemporary stone. You're going to have the gray tones for the color scheme. And those just aren't available anymore.
Gray tones is still in, huh? Is it is it still real popular?
Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody loves that those quartz countertops. It's
it's
to me,
back.
I know it came back, but for me, I just feel like it's just like starting to be another thing. Like everybody's got the same style.
Yeah.
Like they got to change it up. It's not like
granite's not the thing anymore right now.
Well, here's the thing: on the higher end custom homes, granite is still there.
Okay.
But I would say they're leaning towards more like limestone and stuff like that.
Wow.
Now, getting into picking the lot, I wanted to show you guys something here on the screen here. So we have the city of Las Vegas, but I'm going to use this as a prime example here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down to, let's see here, Inspirado to give you guys a general idea. Okay. So let's take a look. So this is where we talk about picking a lot. So one of the things that I want you to understand that when you guys are picking a lot, you must understand the threshold as far as zero threshold when you are doing your landscaping, because when you buy a home out here in Las Vegas, what's going to happen is you are only going to have about 3 to 6 months depending on the HOA. So you got to make sure you read your HOA resale package. So what you have to take a look at, like this home right here, when you have a landscaper that comes in here, the drain swell should be running in the center between the wall and the foundation of the home. So when you have a landscaper come out here, you got to make sure that they understand what the drain swell is, because what happens is typically you have about a 10-year warranty with the builder as far as the foundation. But again, this also depending on which builder. In addition to that as well is the warranty is typically not through them for the first 30 days it is, but what they do is have a third-party company that you'll sign a form with, and that's where you're going to get your warranty. The good news is, should you happen to buy a resale home that is a brand new home, let's say 2-3 years old, right? At that point, make sure to get that transferred on over to you. So that's very important. You can do that. There's a lot more legwork that needs to be done from your agent, but that could also be done too as well. So keep that in mind. Now, talking about landscaping, Joey, what are your thoughts on about the landscaping? I know some of these communities you got to do it within 3 to 6 months. Do you let your clients know, like, hey, you got to get it done like right away? And
I mean, I always put that pressure on them, because the longer you kick the can down the road, chances are you're gonna surpass that time. Because right now in this market, the landscape architects and maintenance companies are so backed up that if you don't jump on it right away, you're still gonna be 60-90 days out from getting somebody out there.
That's crazy. Right? You know, talking about that, I lived in my home now for probably 8 years. I still haven't done my landscaping yet. Now the HOA is on my ass. So so now I got to get it done.
Wow.
Dude, when I bought my home, I was in contract. I got my closing date. I met with my landscape architect before the day that I closed. I already had them scheduled.
Oh, really?
I was moving my stuff in, and they were doing my backyard.
Now, how much does landscaping cost? Like roughly?
So
like a generic way to do it, I guess.
I would say, I mean, if you're going to do some turf, or you're going to pop up the pavers that they give you, pour concrete slabs, you know, there's different ways you can do it. I think I paid, like $7,500 for my backyard.
Yeah. That's actually not that bad.
No, it's not bad.
What about you, Dan?
I did pavers. my house wasn't as big. It was a little bit smaller. It's about 1,700. What's the size of your home?
22.
Okay, so I think mine was only like 3,000 because of the backyard. But I did it all the way through the back. But also, it's hard because you don't know who. Like you have to get I always get attested or like an attestment from somebody like, hey, who's good and who's not.
Yeah.
For me, dude, I think I got the wrong person because he did it and it was almost like they were coming apart after I paid him, like afterwards, like 2 years later. So I don't know, but
yeah, you definitely want to find somebody who's reputable.
You got to do that, man. And like you guys work with a lot of people that are like that. So
how much did you pay for your pool, Dan?
I don't have a pool.
I'm sorry.
I got a plastic pool.
Well, you
like
actually
$50.
Well, is that what it was? $50? But you actually had a home at one point. What did you end up paying for your backyard?
Oh, that's what I was talking about. 3,000.
Oh, 3,000?
Yeah, it was 3,000.
But that was all. What is it? All rock or something like that?
It was all rock all the way around, but I did it all the way around and in the front. But it was like I got this from a referral, but I think the guy just kind of was like doing it. But I think I probably got a discount on it. So it was like once he started getting close to getting done, it just seemed like he was rushed.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah. So I think it's when you find somebody, you really need to know like, are you is that the going price because they might just give you a shoddy job? You know what I mean?
But that's a good point. So we can define what it means to have your backyard complete, right?
Yeah.
So what the developer or what the HOA doesn't want is just a dirt backyard with weeds growing out of it. So you can literally have a bucket of rocks.
Yeah, but what happens if you want desert landscaping?
Right.
Wouldn't that work?
We are in the desert.
Right? But you can just have rocks in your backyard, and that's considered a completed backyard.
Yeah.
Right. So if you want to do a pool later on, you just have to save up for it because you just closed on your house.
Yeah.
You could just put rock down and you can.
So that's just the cheaper route. Then basically just do all the rock.
That's the basic of the basic.
Yeah, and I believe they're actually sold by tons because that's what I was going to do to my backyard just
rock?
to get the HOA off my ass is basically just do all rock. And I think it was like depending on the type of rock now. These guys get technical as far as all different type of rocks.
Yeah.
But the cheapest one I found was like 2 tons and it was like $300. But I realized that each ton will cover so much square footage on your backyard. So that's where you need to figure out what your square footage is as far as the backyard. Yeah. But the other thing is that if you're going to just do landscaping all rocks, make sure to put that felt down too as well. Because the reason why is because you don't want the weeds kind of grow through the rocks, and now you're just trying to like pluck all those weeds, and it's going to be a lot harder for you.
They put cement down, so I think that kind of prevented it. But it seemed like, dude, I still had some weeds here.
Dude, they're pretty tough, dude.
Dude, I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like, it was still pushing through the cement and pushing through the pavers. I couldn't believe it. So I don't know.
Now, there's one thing that also you have to take a look at when you are purchasing a lot and picking the right lot is you got to take a look at the setback. Now, what is the setback? Let me show you what the setback is here. As you can see on the screen right here. So let's just say this is an example for a client that I had. This is actually the back of his house. So from here to here, this is your setback, which is 15 feet. Also, the other thing that you have to take a look at is when you are picking your model and the lot that you're picking, you are going to request a site, plan track permit because you want to see where that home is going to sit because some homes, even though you have a bigger lot, that home may sit further back and you may have more depth space, for your driveway, but then you're losing your back. But however, sometimes you could have a home that's set more forward and you may have a bigger depth space. But, that's going to depend on where you could actually put that model. Also, I want to let you know that right here, what you see is these are all retaining walls. Typically, retaining walls are 9 feet to code, and they're 5 feet away from the house, and there are a total of 6 blocks. Now, the reason why I'm pulling this site plan map for the track permits here is because if you are planning on purchasing a pool, you have a 5-day contingency period, especially with a brand new home. If you're going to build a pool, number one, you need to get with a pool guy immediately. Send this on over to see if you can actually build a pool right here. Now, typically with these companies, they can build a pool and the permits are pretty easy to pull. However, depending on the type of pool you want, if you want an Olympic size pool, that's not going to work here. You see what I'm saying?
Now
you get like a little spool.
Yeah, exactly, a spool. Now, the other thing that I want to bring to your attention is, let's talk about this. If you are going to get a pool, you need to find out exactly where the pool pump is going to be.
Yes.
Here's the reason why.
Very important.
Is because if your master bedroom is off to the right-hand side and you have your pool equipment right next to your headboard, you're going to hear that motor constantly keep pumping.
Yep.
So you want to make sure you move it to the opposite side. Move it to your kid's side. Who cares?
You know, that's a good point because I had the same exact issue. So COVID hit. Obviously, you're sitting there, you're spending a lot of time in your home, and you're like, man, I need a bigger house. My kids are like running havoc, in my house. Oh, we need a pool. We have nothing to do in our house. So I actually got 4 quotes. I had 4 contractors come out and quote me for a pool. My backyard's 22 feet deep.
Ooh, that's pretty huge, bro. That's a really decent size.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks like it's on paper. It sounds big, right? But then you start like mapping out a pool.
That's what she said.
So we were looking at it, and I was like, "All right, this is cool. We kind of figured it out. We liked it." And they were like, "The pool pump.
Yeah.
Well, like, do you want it heated? 100%. You need to have it heated, right?" So we looked at the pool pump, the positioning of where it was going to be.
Yeah.
And son of a gun, man, right next to the master bedroom.
Wow.
But they told me, they're like, hey, look, we can actually get the approval from the HOA to extend the wall.
Yeah.
All the way down, so you can move it. So it doesn't necessarily have to be right there at that boundary where the wall, hits your house.
Yeah.
You can actually extend it if you get the HOA approval.
Yeah.
So you can kind of work around.
And that's another good point. And going back to the retaining wall, some of these retaining walls are set back like halfway through the house, but you can also get that extension, like you just said. In addition to that, even though your block wall is only 9 blocks high, you can actually request from the HOA to get a little bit more privacy. But you and your neighbor is going to have to pay for it. However, your neighbor is going to have to agree. If they don't, that's something that you're going to have to come out of pocket, right?
Yep.
Isn't that crazy? Imagine if your neighbor was like, yeah, you could do it, but I ain't paying for it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So then
or
you
he's
would
like, no, I like looking in your backyard.
Yeah.
Your wife's hot.
Yeah. Keep doing what you're doing. Now, also, when it comes to the pool pump, right? Let's just say if you are deciding to build a pool, you get the permits, you're good to go, right? Now you want to make sure that the builder will run that 220 amp, right? Or 220 volt. And also to make sure if they can run the gas line as well. Because if you do it after the fact, it's going to cost you so much more money. Not only that, it's going to look ugly. It's not going to be as streamlined. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's something that you definitely need to take a look out for. We already talked about the orientation of the home. Now, there's another thing that we should be talking about is this is going to be very important because the average person that lives in a home today, what would you guys say? How many years, roughly?
3 to 5.
3 to 5. Okay.
7.
Okay. You know what? You guys pretty much hit it dead on the nail. It's 5 to 7. Now, let me just show you on the screen here. You see this home right here? Okay. Depending on the buyer, the lifestyle and the culture that they are, right? And their beliefs. You see how like this driveway just goes all the way through? Like if you are Asian, this wouldn't work. Money's going in, money's going out. Even though that you got this corner lot. And the corner lots are going to be more desirable. But this is something that you have to take a look at. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad deal, but it's something that you definitely need to look out for. I mean, have you guys worked with buyers that, superstitious, depending on their culture?
Oh, yeah.
Doors got to be facing this way.
100%.
Yep.
Tell me about that, Joey.
So when I worked at Woodside Homes, right, we ran into that a lot. Address had to be very specific. Orientation,
like the number? Is that crazy?
Yeah, they basically said, let me just look at your address for the community, and they would pick out the addresses that would work for them.
Yeah.
And then they would look at the floor plan. So they actually did it backwards.
That's crazy.
Some people would just say, hey, look, I love this floor plan. Do you have anything that's going to be facing north? Right? And then it's all about the feng shui of the house. So like you said, if it's at the end, right? You're at the end of the street. It's at that
I think
T.
it's like it's like one of the things they said is your I think it's your bed can't face towards the
door or something like that.
Yeah. The door, and they said it's bad luck. Like you'll have bad luck forever. It's like
it's wild.
It's weird, man.
But it's all feng shui.
Yeah.
It's all feng shui. So, with certain cultures, they're, very passionate about that. And they won't bend at all.
I have a Vietnamese client and like we're building like a $3 million home. And we're going through some problems right now. And the crazy thing about it is the feng shui's got to be right. And I'm talking about this gentleman will actually contact like the monk and pay this guy like thousands of dollars. Like the windows got to be a certain way. Like it's got to flow. You can't have like the fire right next to the water because it's bad luck. It's just like super, super crazy.
So does the builder kind of get frustrated?
100%.
Well, it's our job to, really figure out like, hey, this is the home for you. But sometimes things can come up, and that's a situation that I actually had with this builder. I'm not going to mention who the builder is, but we were able to resolve the problem. But it's just crazy how all that stuff works. Yeah. Now, the other thing that I wanted to show you is going back to this map here, is the other thing that you really have to take a look at is when you are picking a lot, some of these communities will only have one sidewalk, believe it or not. Isn't that crazy? One sidewalk. Now, this one actually has two, which is great. Also, the other thing that you have to take a look at is, can you only park on one side of the street? The reason why this is important is because, look, if you have a red curb on this side, right, and your home is on this side, everybody's going to park on your side of the street. That's something that you have to look out for. And Dan, didn't you have a problem like that with your first home?
100%. And
parking must have been freaking crazy, dude. It's
crazy. And also, especially when you wanted to go buy it, nobody wanted to buy it because the biggest thing I got was, man, I don't like the parking. That's it. And there was like one spot at the end where everybody can go park. But it was like, well, we're going to reserve this, and nobody parked. It's honestly, it's a headache.
Yeah.
No, it definitely is. The other thing that I want you to take a look at as well is the mailbox, where the mailbox is located. It's really not a big deal, but I mean, the other thing is, do you want to walk like 20 miles to the mailbox? I'm not saying that's how it is, but typically it's probably going to be about a good 5-minute drive. And also, you don't want the mailbox like right in front of your house because what people are going to do is park in front of your house to go get that mail.
Yep.
Okay. So there are pros and cons to that. I mean, how far is your mailbox, Joey, to your from your house?
It's literally across the street and around the corner.
Oh, that's perfect. At least it ain't in front of your house.
But you know, it's funny you brought something up. Is mine's not far, but it's far enough where I'd rather get in the car and then drive down there and get the mail and then drive back.
Now, here's the thing. The cool thing about mine is mine's in front of my house, but I live in a cul-de-sac, so there's only like 5 people. Yeah. So that works out perfect. Yeah. But again, if you have a mailbox like on a major street, right, that's where you're going to run into issues because now everybody's going to park in front of your house, dude. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's why if you get a house with the red curb in front of your house,
that's even better.
Then you're winning.
Yes. And the other thing you got to take a look at is some of these communities, right? You can't just like park on the street.
No.
Or you can't even park on one side of the street. Let me give you a prime example, like McDonald Highlands. Basically, if you went there right now and you decided that you were going to park on the right-hand side, you couldn't do that. You would always have to park on the left-hand side, okay? Because if not, they're going to actually tow your car. Isn't that crazy how that works?
Towing is crazy because I used to see it like, dude, I used to be like looking outside 9, 10 o'clock at night. You see tow trucks. They're just looking for a reason. Like they just cruise the neighborhood.
How they make their money.
And then all of a sudden you'll see them park at the end with the lights just dimmed out. So they're just waiting. They're just kind of like surveying, like, is there something out here I can get? I mean, they really want to get that car, you know? Yeah. So, I don't know. It's crazy.
You got anything to say about that, Joey?
Oh, I've been towed plenty of times.
Have you really?
Where do I start?
That's funny. The other thing that I wanted to share with you guys that you need to take a look at as far as like the green box. Now, what is the green box? Basically, the green box is a power box. I don't know if I could find one on here, but typically there are about every 12 homes that you can see it. So right here, you can see the power box right here. And some people like that and some people don't because it's such an eyesore. But these are things that people are going to take a look at. And also with the fire hydrant too as well.
So it really does play a factor.
It really does.
Because, it's huge.
Yes, because sometimes I'll go there and, you know, we'll go take a look at the lot. And this is the reason why it's important. You can look at the plot map all day long. You can look at the aerial view. But when you're picking your lot, you physically need to go out there, or you got to get with an agent to do a full video tour to kind of scan the horizon, kind of see exactly what's going on.
Yeah, gotcha. I have the green box in front of my house.
So how do you feel about that? Did you care when you got it, or
I didn't realize actually. Really? Like when we were moving forward with the purchase, I didn't realize that it was there. But then I kind of got cornered into, if you want this floor plan, if I wanted to swing a certain direction, I had to choose that lot. So I really had no choice at that time. Yeah. It was either that or pay a lot premium, and I decided not to pay a lot premium.
I guess
it was a trade-off.
So basically, you see if it was actually worth the reward. Here's the thing: the average person is not going to catch it.
Yeah, I would.
But every once in a while, I'll get a client. You know, we're buying a $300,000 lot. They're like, I don't want a green box in front of that. Yeah. So again, it just really depends, right? You know what I'm saying?
I think people have attention to detail too a little bit more than others, so it might make a bigger problem for somebody. Yeah, you know,
my kids use it to hang out.
Yeah,
just sit on, just chill.
Yeah, they jump off of it all day. So.
Just throw some water on it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Now, Now let's talk about like sewage lines. I did a couple videos where I showed you where exactly your property line is, because on the city plot map will show you your where your property is located. However, if you take a look at the plot map, it may not be exactly the same. So if you take a look here, right, you have this retaining wall. This really shows you where your property line is. But it's always great to get a land survey, because sometimes you look on the county records. Do you ever see how like the line is kind of off by 2 feet?
Yes.
Because that's actually accurate. So what has to happen is typically, especially if you buy a resale, you do have a right, number one, to hire somebody, right, a surveyor to come out, and that normally runs about $350. You want to see where your line is. The reason why this is important is because if you're not buying a tract home and you're just buying a piece of dirt, right, to build a home, you want to see exactly where your property line is, right?
Right.
So that's something to keep in mind. Any thoughts?
I think it's good. Does that ever happen though? He's not playing.
I think you make a good point, because most people don't think about that.
Yeah.
Right? They just
Correct.
they buy the house, they're buying the yard, they see where the fence is.
Yeah.
But you're right. Sometimes that property line is pushed out a little bit. And if you have your neighbor encroaching on your property and
Yes.
they're doing something kind of crazy, you want to be able to identify exactly what's yours and what's not.
Yeah, I was going to say, should you do that every time you buy a house?
Not necessarily. That's totally up to you, because that is your right. Because let me tell you this one story. A few years ago when I sold a property to a client, the way that the homes were built was you had a home. Your home was a part of the wall. You ever seen that where it's a part of the wall and it's part of their property?
Yep.
I hate those type of properties, because what happens is...
Why would they even sell it?
I know. The problem is that when they, because they can squeeze more,
That's
one more
sad,
property.
man.
So here's the thing. When you start having somebody like watering their trees and stuff, and it goes on top of your property, it could actually damage your property. That's the
Yes.
reason why I don't like it. However, I had this problem once where my client had contacted me and said, look, the neighbors are next door. They're encroaching on my property. So I went out there and said, look, if you take a look on the concrete, typically the surveys will come out and they'll line up the property line, so where you can kind of see it. It kind of gives you that guideline. So I said, look, your property line is right here. So they were arguing back and forth, right? So what happened was, now she had to call the guy to come on out there to take a look at it, where they actually surveyed the land, and basically they were actually encroaching over into her land, and she actually had to go through a full lawsuit, but she won. But she did the right thing to, contact.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy how that works?
Well, and also too, like you've had plants,
Yeah.
trees or something. No, I wouldn't say trees, but more like plants. If it starts growing, and you said there's water,
Yeah.
that could also affect it. Like,
No, it does.
What happens if it starts growing up inside on the side of the house? You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Well, there's a big lawsuit. I mean, you see homes like that in Inspirado with like KB Homes. You know,
Yeah.
those 2 stories that are going for like $260. There's nothing wrong with purchasing that, but however, as a courtesy, you probably don't want to encroach in somebody else's property and start, overwatering on their stucco, because you don't want to be responsible for it.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Well, what if you put something in the backyard or something, and it on an accident it just tips over and hits their house?
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
you know
for
what I
sure.
mean? Like, that's another thing. It's not, just anything could happen. You can, you mess up with their house. It's like right there. Like, I don't know, man. To me, it's just makes no sense. I would probably almost want to put a wall up, even if I lost some land. Just put a wall up right there if I got the approval from HOA.
Now, let's talk about the utilities that are ran to the property. Okay, obviously you got an easement, which is like the utility lines. One thing that you really need to take a look at is the actual water line. Okay, some of these water lines are typically on the side and the front of your home. That's probably what you want to look out for. There are some that are in front of your home, in front of the driveway, that the main water line runs through your driveway into your house.
Yes.
You can run into some trouble.
How would a normal buyer identify that?
So here's the thing. It shows you, number one, you can get with the sales agent or get with Joey or myself. And that's the reason why you need to hire us, okay?
There you go.
Thank you.
Get the claps.
So that way we can actually show you where it's ran. But you're going to want to get this information from the builder. And the reason why this is important is because one of my neighbors had that water meter right in front of the driveway. So from the driveway to the house, the line bust.
Right in front of the driveway.
Inside the driveway. So now you had to cut a hole inside that driveway,
Wow.
right? to fix it. Versus if it was off to the side, because normally it runs from the side, then it goes right into your house.
Right.
Yes.
If there was something, right, that cracked or leaked, it would have been easier, and it would have been less cost effective to fix those items. But again, these are things that you have to take a look at. But sometimes what happens is just the way those lots are set, you really don't have a choice. But it's just something to think about because I realized after owning a home now for about 10 years, my house flooded twice.
Did it really?
Yes, and that's going to happen. So be prepared.
From a water line or just something from the interior of the home?
Actually, from the inside of the home. So basically, what had happened was inside my bathroom, the toilet, right? And this is something I want to share with you guys, is that, the supply line that goes into your tank, you probably don't want to tighten it too tight. And here's why. Because when it gets hot or cold, it expands and contracts. The plumber, I'm going to say the plumber, not me, the plumber, right? Tighten it too tight. And what happened was it expanded and it cracked because it's like a PVC.
Yeah.
Sprung a leak. Daughter contacted me and said, look, home is flooded. I'm like, was it that bad? She's like, I think you need to come home. Dude, I went home. The subfloor was all soaked on the second floor, right? The subfloor. Down into the kitchen.
Wow.
2 inches of water. Okay? I was like, what the hell is going on? I was like frantic. I didn't even know what to do. Never been in this situation, but it was a great learning lesson. So we had to call a company, come out there, cut all the drywall immediately. Like, you got to handle the situation right away. And the good news is if you have insurance, which is you should have insurance, they'll handle everything. But they had to cut the drywall like about almost like 2 feet from the studs. Started drying everything out.
Wow.
2 days later, the refrigerator line bust.
Oh,
What?
2 days later. The problem was they were drying inside of the home, right? The supply line for the refrigerator for the water, because it was so hot, it expanded and it cracked that second leak. So there was 2 claims like within 2 days.
Oh my God.
So it was an uphill battle with Allstate. By the time we fought them, we got everything we want. At this point, they dropped us like a heartbeat. They were like,
high risk.
Yeah, high risk. So
Insurance nightmare.
Yeah, exactly. So what was crazy is a year later, they picked us back up. And now we're back with Allstate.
Isn't that crazy?
All my stuff was with Allstate. But isn't that crazy
How long
how
were
that
you with
worked?
them before they dropped you?
I think probably dude, I've been with Allstate all my life, dude. Life insurance, policy, everything. But that's the only thing that they dropped me on my primary.
I want to go back and ask you something. So
Yeah.
you said something about the water main being that if it's in the garage, right? It's inside the garage, you said?
Yeah.
So if you had to break that pavement in the garage, how thick is that?
In this case, it wasn't inside the garage. It was actually inside the driveway. So you have the home, right? You have the driveway here. But then typically it's off on the side on the dirt where it goes straight in, then it curves right into the home.
Right.
This one went into the driveway, then it banked left, then it went outside on the dirt, then it went into the home.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
I see.
But here's the thing. This is also what you need to understand. And I found this out. When it comes to insurance, make sure to read that policy correctly because here's the thing.
Read that fine print.
Exactly. Especially with the home warranty too as well. They cover everything that's inside from the main line to the house, but from the house to the main line, that may not be covered.
Really?
That's how they get you. But now anything from the city on out is covered. So if you have some sort of leak, you call it the city. The city's like, that ain't us. That's your problem. But just within that 20 feet, it is not covered. So check your policy.
What if you had a water main, and this is just kind of curious.
Yeah.
Water main, and then let's say that, it breaks and the insurance doesn't cover it. Let's just say it just doesn't cover it. What is the cost on something like that to fix that? Have you guys ever been a part of something like that?
No, I haven't, but I think the fee, depending on who you go with, but make sure they are licensed and bonded. I think it's probably about like $4,000 to $7,000, just depending on who you hire.
To replace the line.
Just to replace it.
Wow.
Well, in this case, it was a little bit more because you had to cut through the concrete, right? After you cut through the concrete, then you got to dig through it, right? Then get to it, right? Then you got to reconcrete it, put rebar and all that stuff.
Yeah, because most of the slabs are post-tension.
Exactly. But in the driveway, it's not post-tension, but the whole house will be post-tension. Now, there's another thing that I do want to talk about is the HOA resale package. Once you have the HOA resale package, there's a couple things that you need to take a look at. Is the soil report. Typically on a brand new home, you should always request a soil report. Now, typically, within that HOA resale package, within that little thumb drive, you should receive it. Is that correct, Joey?
That is correct.
Okay. Now, a lot of people don't read through the soil report. I've looked at it a couple times, but typically it's done by a third-party company. The county requires you to do a soil report anyway because you can't just build a home anywhere. So that's something that you have to take a look out for. Now, typically on the soil report, remember this. Soil report is only done in probably like 5 areas within your particular parcel. So keep that in mind. So if you want a soil report, you do have a right to get a soil report. Now, let's get into like buying a raw land. And I'm talking about not in a master plan community. If you're going to buy like a raw land to build like a custom home, number one, you got to see where those sewage lines and the utility lines are ran, because sometimes they may not be ran. So you got to get with the county within your due diligence period, because if it's not ran, how far is it from that parcel, right? Because it could be 100 yards, but that could be another $90,000 to run. And this is what people don't think about. Exactly.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Also, you want to see, depending on where in Las Vegas, you may be able to put a septic tank. And some parcels may have like a well, but you don't really get that too many now. But I see a lot of that stuff out in the Northwest, and that's the reason why people will buy that stuff out in the Northwest.
Is that more cost efficient?
The well, it's pretty much free water, but the thing about it is you're going to have to pay for the maintenance of the water. But what they do is they'll drill down like hundreds of feet, right, to get to the bedrock, I guess to the tabletop or something like that, right?
Aquifer.
Yeah, exactly. But typically in these type of lands, what they'll do is they'll have like septic tanks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Versus running the utilities, because it's going to be cheaper. But the electrical line is going to be a lot cheaper versus doing the sewage line and tapping in and all that stuff. So
do you find like the more the development that they're doing out here, especially in the Northwest, like everything's kind of like coming inward, right?
Yeah.
Right. And it's kind of like absorbing like in the Northwest, where you have those ranches and those ranch style homes, because then you have like these other subdivisions where these home builders are building, so it might be easier now than it was before to kind of tap into those sewage lines and the water lines, and
because everything's kind of starting to connect almost.
Yeah.
You're saying, right? Everything's kind of coming
it's
together.
not so isolated before.
And that's why if you even like take a look right now, like with these master plan communities with like SIDS and LIDs, you have to pay for the SIDS and LIDs. You want to explain the SIDS and LIDs, Joey, how all that stuff works and why people are paying for that?
Yeah, absolutely, because a lot of people don't realize. So we have something, it's called SIDS and LIDs, and in California, where we get most of our buyers, they have something that's called Mello-Roos. And basically what that is it's the bond that the builder takes out to bring in all the entitlements, the sewer, the gutters, the curbs, electricity, all that stuff. And what they do is they break that up amongst each parcel, so each home site. And it's a 10-year bond. You're not married to it, so it is transferable. So if you ever sell your home down the road, the balance of that SID is transferred to the new buyer. So with that being said, you pay it quarterly, right? So and it can range anywhere between, I've seen them as low as $4,000 up to $15,000.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
Yeah, depending.
Really?
So early on in Inspirata, my SID is, I have a lid.
Yeah.
It's $12,000.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
And how long is that bond for?
10 years.
Ooh, 10 years. But
now the new subdivisions in there within Inspirata, they're a lot lower. They're like 4 to 7.
And how come it's a lot lower?
I think it's just because it's more cost effective to bring everything and connect everything.
And also the other thing I wanted to throw out there too as well is when a developer buys a chunk of land, they'll have to pay for that stuff. So by the time they start building, that cost may be a little bit lower. But if they can pass that cost, they can. But some of these builders will actually pay for the cost up front. But what they'll do is increase the price.
Yeah.
So you're like, yo, this place doesn't have SIDS and LIDs. You paid for it. You don't even know it.
That's funny.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Now, one thing I want to get into is the market. What's going on with the market? Just kind of give you a quick rundown right now. If we take a look, the average, right, across the Las Vegas Valley, and this is for single family residents only, right? It is $417,000 to get a home now. That's the average. Isn't that crazy, dude?
Insane.
That's
Dude,
a mortgge on that.
That's 8 times the income, bro.
Man, that's everybody too. I mean, we're talking all the time. We need 2 people. A lot of people. I mean, some people make good livings, but a lot of people need 2 to a household to get approved.
Let me ask you this, since you're on the mortgage side. So last year we were mid to high threes.
Yeah.
Right. As an average sales price. Rates were 3.5.
Yeah, I would say so.
So now the prices have gone up. Now you're below 3% in most cases for interest rates.
I would say high threes, low threes. Sorry, high twos, low threes. I think it's like this though.
But does it average out as?
Not necessarily, because sometimes it's like this. When somebody comes in and the house is increased like that, that might not lower your payment enough for the increase in the value of the home. Meaning, if you've increased $150,000 in just purchasing a home versus the rate slightly better, that might only be $20 or $30, maybe. Just saying. So it could, I guess it may, but from what I'm seeing is people coming in, they have a lot of debt and they have a lot of things going on, and they're just not making enough money in some cases, so they're adding extra people. I don't know. I mean, I think it could be a wash, but it's I don't know. It's kind of hard. You have to run the numbers.
How complex does it get when, let's say, if somebody's not married, or like, hey, like two friends want to get together and go on the loan to buy a house?
It's not complex. It's all about structure, right? I mean, you have to know what these people are doing, and that's with the questions. But I don't know. I think it's structure, and I think it's really just about setting the foundation, but it is not hard.
So it's not hard to have like two friends opposed to two, like a couple that's married?
No, I mean, it's like anything. It's like if you can qualify and, there's a way to do it, we're going to figure it out and get it there,
What if one has like a 700 credit score and the other one has a 620?
I mean, the credit score is important, but it's not the only factor. But when you look at certain programs, 620 is going to get you in the door for an FHA loan. But if you did a 700 on a conventional and a 620, then obviously it's going to be a huge difference on the rate. Mm-hmm. So that's when you start really seeing how you're judged.
Gotcha.
So,
all right. So did you know it's $189 a square foot with an average 32 days on the market? Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
So things are moving pretty quickly. Let's go head over to the Centennial area, the Northwest over there. And this is the median price point now. So the median is actually lower than the average across the valley. So the median price point in Northwest Las Vegas Valley is $348,000 at $178 a square foot. Average days on the market is 11 days. That is quick, dude.
That is quick.
That is quick.
11 days?
11 days. Moving on to Summerlin, $490,000 on the median price point at $219 a square foot with an average days on the market, 20 days. The Southwest is $356,000 at $178 a square foot. Average days on the market, 17 days. The south side of the Las Vegas Valley is $318,000, $178 a square foot. Average days on the market is 11 days. The city of Henderson, $395,000 at $199 a square foot with an average days on the market, 16 days. On the east side of town is $253,000 at
East side?
On the east side. We got to represent, cuz.
I'm buying.
There you go. Now, that is $164 a square foot. Average days on the market is 13 days. Moving along to the city of North Las Vegas. It is $316,000 at $167 a square foot. Average days on the market, 9 days. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
9 days. In the
9 days. Well, think about this. Why is it 9 days?
Or
Because
North Las Vegas. That's crazy.
take a look at this. $167 a square foot, 9 days at $316. Look, the problem is that everybody wants to be in Summerlin or Henderson, but who wants to pay $490,000? And this is the median price point. So this is how it works. If they can't afford that price or they don't want to pay that price, then they will move on to the next better community until it cycles all the way through. Isn't that crazy how that works? Now, I want to get into the financing sector, Dan. Go ahead and break it down to us. What is going on with the financing?
Well, you guys know that COVID always plays a big factor in what happens with rates and also the stock market. And you're into the stock market a little bit, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. So we saw that there was huge losses last week, right? Well, pretty good, right?
Pretty good, yeah.
So what does that mean? It just means that these big investors are taking their money in mortgage-backed securities and bonds, which mortgages are. They put them into the bond market. And so, the stock market suffers. I think a lot of things that's going to happen to this with this election. And, you guys can maybe have your thought on it. Trump, if he did get, if he was elected, then I think the market would stay good in the economy, and I think the stock market would still do well. I think rates would suffer. I think that's going to be inverse for Biden, at least for the short term, So rates right now are doing phenomenal. We're right above our all-time lows. And mortgage applications were up again from last week. We're at 3.8% up from last week, which is 1.7%. Really across the board, refis are up 6.4%. Refi applications. So looking at rates and looking at what's happening overall, what's everybody's looking at is what's going to happen with the election. We see right now that the bond market's doing really well and the stock market's not doing well. So rates are really starting to, they're staying low and maybe even getting better. So we'll see what happens with that. Programs, stuff that's going on right now, there's a lot of stuff that I see where changes are happening. Okay. So there was jumbo loans that, Chuck and I have done, and there's investors and stuff that I've done.
What is a jumbo loan?
Jumbo loans, anything that exceeds the county limit, right? Which is it's 510, 350. And so
right on the dot, 510, 350.
Yeah. So it's crazy because it's like you see this though, and it's like, okay, well, why am I bringing this up? Because the same clients that I was approving 2 months ago because of COVID and because of uncertainty, you're starting to see some banks that are changing their programs. Like some of these banks are saying we're not going to do self-employment. Some of these banks may want you to have a higher credit rating. We talked about credit score, and you're like, well, there's no rating for FHA, VA loans, but so you're seeing a lot of these changes, and I think that's kind of what I'm trying to say is that there's a lot of things that's happening. We have to see the data that comes out, but consumer confidence is still there, especially here in Las Vegas. I don't foresee that having a problem. Also, the unemployment line is getting lower. Less people are taking the forbearance situation. So you're starting to see a really uptick, I think, as far as just overall spending and overall buying. Third quarter, gross domestic product was up. Obviously, it's because we had a huge drop because of COVID. Huge amount, the highest we've had since in any third quarter in history. So people are spending. The stimulus check that's going to come out, that could potentially, they're still in talks. That could potentially have an effect on what's going to happen here with the markets. But, a lot of people are using that money to spend, and it is keeping the economy flowing. So we'll see if that comes out. They're saying it's going to come out, but it will all have an impact on what's going to happen here. So to sum it up, rates are still phenomenal. Everybody, it's a good time to refi or purchase.
And you don't see the rates going to increase at any time soon.
Again, I think it's going to be about the election for the most part, and I think it's going to see what the direction is. And right now, what I'm seeing is everybody's just kind of almost at a standstill. And a lot of investors are pulling their money out and putting it into bonds, which does have a better impact on rates. So rates are still leveling out, like right around, hovering around that all-time lows. But it's because of the uncertainty, because of what's going on with the stock market currently.
Well, the stock market is still doing good though, right?
Overall, yes, I think it's doing okay. But recent news has showed that they've had some droppage last week. They've had some losses.
It did in one day and went right back up.
It all happens right around the election.
It's weird though because
people freak out. They take profits. They stay liquid.
They do.
And they get a little bit of certainty of which way the election's going to swing. And then they get some confidence and they dump the money right back in.
And we talked about it before. It's about consumer confidence.
That's all it is, man. Consumer confidence. What was the last rate you locked in?
Last rate, I think, was 2.75. That was yesterday.
2.75?
Yeah.
Man, I can't wait to refi my house.
Right.
How come you haven't done it yet? Hasn't been 2 years or something? Or you don't have enough equity?
I haven't filed taxes. For how
many years?
No, for this year. No, for this year because I'm back on 1099. Now I'm back on 1099. Just want to make that clear.
Hey,
I haven't paid taxes the past 4 years.
It's all good.
No, so I have to wait. Like you told me, I gotta wait.
Yeah. So. No, but I think look, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. It's not everybody should be looking the fact that it's a great time to buy. When you're saying there's 9 days for homes to purchase and there are only 9 days on the market,
that's dangerous. Though,
rates are historically low, and
the
prices are going up, but you got a lot of people coming from out of state. It's really just I don't see this stopping.
No, because you're looking at 490 is our highest average across the valley, coming from California, coming
that
from
ain't
Chicago.
nothing,
dude. It's like. Are you kidding me?
That's lunch money.
Get like 2,200 square feet, 2,300 square feet for 490.
That's what I'm saying. That is crazy. But it's just kind of crazy how 490, that is kind of high for us. I don't know.
For Las Vegas.
Dude, I remember when there was homes at 120 and I was squawking. Now it's like I'd give anything to pay $200,000 for a single family resident.
And not only that, how about an investment property?
Oh, I know.
Right? You got a couple of those in today's market.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
You're set for life. Yeah. All you're doing is collecting checks.
All right.
Chuck did that.
Don't say that, man. I want people to know what I'm doing. So any final thoughts, Dan? You want to plug in your website and also your YouTube channel?
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, we're all tied to Chuck, but I mean, at the end of the day, you know, you can go to Dan French. It's a YouTube channel. Also, you can go to vegasloanguru.com. You can check me out there. If you guys want to do a refi or you guys want to look at a purchase application, go there. Joey sends people there. Other than that, you know, it's been great. And we'll see you guys next week on the same thing here, same channel, you know.
What about you, Joey? Any final thoughts before we end this show?
Final thoughts. If you're thinking about making a move, don't wait too long.
Yeah, that's
Vegas.
That's right.
That's
you need
it.
to contact my right hand man,
Contact
Joey.
Get it while it's hot.
That's right. Hey guys, I really do appreciate each and every one of you guys for tuning in to the show. It means a lot to me. If you guys have not had a chance to subscribe to this channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and also hit that notification button too as well, because we do post videos on a daily basis and you want to get updated immediately. Other than that, I'm Chakits Krulsawat with Simply Vegas, and have a great day, guys.